Hello, MBAP 518 International Business students. This is Dr. Jaros with a video explanation for how I graded exam number 2. So let's get to it. The first question says, what kind of structure did Philips Corporation develop? Why did they develop this structure? Was it a help or a hindrance at the time it emerged? Was it a help or a hindrance when competing against Matsushita? Explain. Well, Philips initially developed what is called a decentralized federation structure, or a multi-domestic structure. This is a structure in which headquarters has very little authority and power is located in the national subsidiaries located in different countries, so that they can be responsive to the demand conditions of local consumers. This structure was helpful because it allowed Philips to customize their products to local consumers in different countries, and it also helped them survive the major calamities of the first part of the 20th century, namely World War I, World War II, and the Great Depression, when headquarters was cut off from national subsidiaries during the wars, and where high trade barriers during the Depression made it difficult and costly to export products from centralized production facilities. So initially it was very helpful. However, later, after the wars and Depression had ended, this was a time of global peace and also a time when trade barriers were falling. At this point, when Matsushita emerged as a competitor, the decentralized federation and later matrix structures became a major hindrance to a major hindrance to Philips, because Matsushita, with its centralized structure, was able to achieve greater economies of scale and was also able to be more reliant on less infrastructure than was Philips. Philips had a lot of redundant infrastructure because it had built up capabilities in a lot of different countries, whereas with Matsushita, everything was centralized. So it was a competitive disadvantage when competing with Matsushita. All right, let's look at question number 2. What kind of foreign research and development facility is appropriate if a firm is seeking to tap into knowledge being generated in a foreign country? What is the job of the leader of such a facility? What kind of background or skills should the leader have? Well, the correct kind of R&D facility, the kind that is used to tap into knowledge in a foreign country, is called the home-based augmenting facility. Not the home-based exploiting, the home-based augmenting facility, because this facility is designed to absorb knowledge from the foreign country and to generate new knowledge by collaborating with scientists in that foreign country and then transfer that knowledge back to the home country, back to headquarters in the home country. The role of the leader, or the job of the leader, is to establish a facility and create strong ties with the local scientific community, meaning to create strong ties with scientists in the foreign country at research labs, colleges and universities, governmental facilities, etc., so as to facilitate that collaboration. The skills or background that the leader should have. Well, the leader should be a top scientist or engineer with high credibility with scientists in the foreign country. They should be a skilled manager. They should have the ability to integrate the new research and development facility into the existing R&D network of the company. And they should have the ability to overcome formal barriers to collaboration with local scientists. All right, question number 3. Regarding the SK-II skincare line, what are the advantages and disadvantages of entering the Chinese market compared to entering the European market with the product? Well, the Chinese market has a couple of advantages. One is that it is a fast-growing market. Okay, China, at the time of the case, China was experiencing rapid economic growth. So there was a very rapidly growing category of urban upscale women, the kind of women who the product was targeted at. Okay. Also, the Procter and Gamble, the company that makes SK-II, they had experience with the Chinese market because they'd been selling the Olay product line in China at the time. Also, the SK-II product had been test marketed very successfully in Taiwan and Hong Kong. Taiwan and Hong Kong are territories, or not territories of China, but they are populated by Chinese people. So the idea being, well, Chinese people in Taiwan and Hong Kong like the product, that bodes well or augurs well for its introduction into China. Okay. But there are some disadvantages with China as well. The consumers, the female consumers of the product in China were regarded as being unsophisticated, meaning they were used to buying lower end skincare products. They were not used to buying the higher end skincare products like SK-II with the multi-step regimen. So there was worry that Chinese consumers would just not be familiar with how to apply the product. Also, the Chinese government slapped high tariffs of 35 to 40% on imported products from places like Japan. And furthermore, there was the fear of counterfeiting. China was notorious for counterfeiting high-end products, and SK-II is regarded as being a high-end product. Regarding Europe, Europe is different from China. The beauty care industry, the high-end beauty care industry, is very well established in Europe, so there are a lot of sophisticated women, a lot of sophisticated consumers who are very familiar with using high-end skincare products, very familiar with the multi-step process and all that. But the problem with the European market is that it is saturated with competition, whereas the Chinese high-end market is basically virgin territory. There really are no established companies in the high-end Chinese skincare market. That market is saturated with high-end competitors in Europe, so it would be very difficult for SK-II to break into that market given the presence of the established brands. All right, last but not least, question number 4. According to research, what is the optimal level of foreign partner ownership percentage in a foreign domestic joint venture? For example, in a joint venture between a Japanese company and a Brazilian company in which the joint venture is operating in Brazil. Explain why you think this percentage might be optimal. Well, research shows that the optimal percentage is between 30 and 40%. The research shows that once the foreign owner owns more than 40% of the joint venture, the morbidity rate or mortality rate of the joint venture, meaning the chances that it will fail and go out of business, does not change. Okay, it does not change as foreign ownership increases. Okay, why is this likely to be the optimal percentage? Well, the thinking is that if the foreign owner owns less than 30%, okay, then the foreign owner might not be very invested in the joint venture and therefore not devote a lot of management time and resources to it, making it more likely to fail. So you want the foreign owner to own at least 30 to 40% because then they feel they have a strong stake in the joint venture and therefore will take the steps necessary to make sure it is successful. Okay, this is my explanation of how the exam was graded. I hope it was helpful.